Leo, the Page of Cups arrives with a message your more experienced self might be tempted to dismiss because it seems too small, too strange, or too vulnerable. This week favors beginnings of the heart, a creative impulse, an apology, an unexpected attraction, a dream, or a feeling that does not yet have a polished explanation. Your strength is not threatened by wonder. Your card for August 5th through August 11th is Page of Cups. The central message is that the next meaningful chapter may begin as something tender that cannot survive constant evaluation. The shadow expression would be performing confidence so completely that curiosity has no room to speak. The wiser expression is protecting imagination, expressing emotion honestly, and allowing yourself to be a beginner without surrendering discernment. This is not a prediction that one literal event must occur. It is a decision-making lens for recognizing the pattern when it appears. On August 6th, Venus enters Libra and moves through your 3th house of communication, learning, daily movement, and the stories you repeat. Venus brings attention to attraction, values, harmony, and the quality of exchange. Through the lens of Page of Cups, this transit asks you to notice what becomes more appealing when you are acting from self-respect rather than habit. Let beauty and connection support the lesson of the card, but do not use harmony to avoid the truth the card is revealing. On August 9th, Mercury enters Leo and activates your 1th house of identity, presence, confidence, and the way you inhabit your own life. Mercury changes the way information moves, how decisions are framed, and what needs to be spoken or understood. For Leo, this can help translate the message of Page of Cups into language and practical choices. Use the transit to ask better questions, clarify assumptions, and give the central lesson of the reading a form you can act on. On August 11th, Mars enters Cancer and moves into your 12th house of rest, closure, the subconscious, private fears, and what happens behind the scenes. Mars brings drive, friction, courage, and the desire to act. Its energy can help you implement the lesson of Page of Cups, but it may also tempt you to rush before the emotional meaning is understood. Direct the energy toward one constructive action in this area rather than allowing irritation or urgency to choose for you. The deeper invitation of Page of Cups is not to perform the card's most familiar keyword. It is to notice the choice beneath it. For Leo, that choice may appear in the space between instinct and response. You may already understand this situation intellectually, but the week asks whether your behavior reflects that understanding. Watch for the moment when an old reflex offers immediate relief. That moment is not a failure, it is the doorway into a different decision. Also notice what you are tempted to make this card mean about your identity. Page of Cups describes an energy and a lesson, not a permanent definition of who you are. You can work with its message without turning it into a verdict. The most useful question is not, "Why am I like this?" It is, "What response would make this pattern less powerful by the end of the week?" In love, the Page of Cups invites sincerity over strategy. A small gesture may matter more than a dramatic declaration. Venus entering your 3rd house can soften communication and make affection easier to express through messages, conversation, humor, and everyday attention. Say what you feel before turning it into a performance. If someone offers vulnerability, receive it without demanding that it arrive perfectly. At work, an unconventional idea deserves a fair hearing. Mercury entering Leo and your first house strengthens your voice, presence, and ability to articulate a personal vision. The Page of Cups asks you not to wait until the concept appears fully mature. Share the seed with someone capable of understanding possibility, then give it structure. With money, avoid treating inspiration as a command to spend immediately. A new interest, tool, class, or creative project may be worthwhile, but let enthusiasm survive a short pause. Choose one modest investment that supports exploration without turning curiosity into financial pressure. Mars entering your 12th house can make hidden fatigue or unprocessed frustration more noticeable. You may need more solitude than usual, even while Mercury increases your outward confidence. Balance visibility with recovery. Dreams, music, water, journaling, and gentle movement can help emotions move before they become irritability. Wednesday is for noticing the small invitation. Do not dismiss an idea merely because it arrives quietly. Thursday, Venus enters Libra and your 3rd house. Reach out, write, flirt, apologize, or speak with warmth where distance has become unnecessary. Friday asks you to create before you critique. Give an idea one full page, draft, or attempt before deciding what it is worth. Saturday favors play. Choose an activity that makes time feel less rigid and your identity feel less managed. Sunday, Mercury enters Leo and your 1st house. Your voice carries farther. Use it to express something personal rather than repeating what sounds impressive. Monday is for emotional translation. Name the feeling beneath the mood, joke, or dramatic reaction. Tuesday, Mars enters Cancer and your 12th house. Step back from avoidable conflict and give hidden frustration a private, constructive outlet. Here are your 3 journal prompts. Where is the lesson of Page of Cups already visible in my life, even if I have not named it? What would change if I practiced this week's central truth, that the next meaningful chapter may begin as something tender that cannot survive constant evaluation, in one concrete situation? Which response would allow me to respect both my feelings and my future? Your weekly guidance is this: begin a 7-day curiosity practice. Each day, spend 15 minutes on something that interests you without requiring a result. Sketching, writing, learning, listening, experimenting, or imagining. At the end of each session, write one sentence beginning, "What surprised me was." On Tuesday, circle the surprise that still carries energy and decide how to continue it. Do not use the exercise to create another standard you can fail. Use it to collect evidence. The purpose is to make the message of Page of Cups visible in behavior, because insight becomes trustworthy when it changes one real decision. Leo, this week does not require a dramatic reinvention. It asks for one honest correction repeated consistently. You may notice that the old pattern still speaks loudly, but volume is not authority. Let the card become a lens rather than a label. Let the astrology provide timing and context rather than certainty. Most of all, let your next action become proof that awareness is already changing the way you move. One more layer deserves attention. This card can become distorted when you try to solve its lesson through performance alone. A polished response may look convincing while leaving the deeper pattern untouched. This week, measure progress by what becomes simpler, more honest, and more sustainable after the decision. Notice whether your body relaxes when you tell the truth, whether your schedule becomes more coherent when you choose a priority, and whether your relationships become clearer when you stop managing every possible reaction. The card is not asking for perfection. It is asking for congruence between what you know, what you say, and what you repeatedly do. One more layer deserves attention. This card can become distorted when you try to solve its lesson through performance alone. A polished response may look convincing while leaving the deeper pattern untouched. This week, measure progress by what becomes simpler, more honest, and more sustainable after the decision. Notice whether your body relaxes when you tell the truth, whether your schedule becomes more coherent when you choose a priority, and whether your relationships become clearer when you stop managing every possible reaction. The card is not asking for perfection. It is asking for congruence between what you know, what you say, and what you repeatedly do. One more layer deserves attention. This card can become distorted when you try to solve its lesson through performance alone. A polished response may look convincing while leaving the deeper pattern untouched. This week, measure progress by what becomes simpler, more honest, and more sustainable after the decision. Notice whether your body relaxes when you tell the truth, whether your schedule becomes more coherent when you choose a priority, and whether your relationships become clearer when you stop managing every possible reaction. The card is not asking for perfection. It is asking for congruence between what you know, what you say, and what you repeatedly do. The Page of Cups also reminds you that being seen while learning is different from being exposed. You do not have to present every beginning to a crowd, but you should not hide every beginning until it becomes impressive. Choose one trusted person, one private practice, or one small public step that gives the new feeling somewhere to live. The heart often speaks in images, humor, coincidence, and sudden curiosity before it speaks in a complete plan. Receive the message, test it gently, and let experience help it mature. Wonder becomes wisdom when it is given both protection and practice. One small beginning deserves protection this week. Do not measure it by applause, speed, or immediate usefulness. Measure it by whether you feel more alive after giving it attention. That response is not proof of destiny, but it is meaningful data about what your inner life has been missing. Your affirmation for this week is, my heart can be open, my judgment can be wise, and my curiosity can lead me somewhere real. Carry that with you through August 11th. Subscribe so your next weekly reading is waiting for you. Trust the timing. The stars have spoken.